That big boat, the Crystal, it's been rotting at the dock for years.
Believe me, it's a really good thing that the nomads can't just come and go around Valsambor as they please anymore. Usually the Yukols only stick around for a few days or so. Something must be keeping them here this time.
I can't understand why that gutless oboe keeps trying to maintain his rotten old tub.
Things are heating up for Mayor Bulyakin. It's been too long since there was any sort of change in the town hall. Things are heating up for Mayor Bulyakin.
My squid is absolutely fresh, miss. Listen, miss, it's fresh. Most other shopkeepers are on strike. I can't do the same.
We're going to see the Nomad Souk. Apparently they have good prices. Ever since the port closed, people have been buying cheap, no choice. We're going to see the Nomad Souk. Apparently they have good prices. Ever since the port closed, people have been buying cheap, no choice.
Since the town hall closed the port, we sometimes get the impression we're living in a ghost town. With all that's happened, I don't see how they could have prevented the port from closing.
Hi there. Anything biting?
As if. 20 years there's been fewer fish, but sometimes you can get lucky. Go figure. It's really odd.
You seem to know the region well. Maybe you can fill me in a bit. I'd like to know a little bit more about the local legend. I was told that there's a monster down there, living at the bottom of the lake.
It's not a legend.
And how can you be so sure?
Back when, the lake froze over earlier in the season. People would go out and make holes in the ice in the middle of the lake, then fish like that. Sometimes they would even set up these cabins for the winter next to the hole. The old folk always said you should only cut a small hole, just wide enough so the fish could be pulled through when you landed them. No more than that. One day, this guy who was kind of odd cut a really big hole. To make it easier, he said. In case he caught a really big one. You don't have to believe me, but he's the one who went into the hole. Backwards. Into the depths. In less time than it takes to say it, the monster's arm came through the hole, then dragged the poor guy down to the bottom of the lake. That's why the old folks say never make a big hole in the ice, because of the monster that lurks below.
And how do you know all that?
Because the poor guy was my older brother. And I was fishing just next to him that day. So you think what you want. You have a good day, miss. It's because of the lake monster that the locks are closed. 20 years the port's been left to rot. Damn Baranur. You want some advice, miss? It's always bad to go stirring up the past. I thought I had a nibble, but it was just my hook getting stuck. I should have seen the lake 20 years ago, before the catastrophe. It was really something. It's because of the lake monster that the locks are closed.
Nobody. The crystal? Isn't that the boat that the drunk in the port was talking about earlier? The crystal? Isn't that the boat that the drunk in the port was talking about earlier? As deserted as the outside. Given the number of seats, this must be some kind of ferry, some kind of transport.
Hello? Anyone here?
Given the number of seats, this must be some kind of ferry, some kind of transport. It looks like it needs repairs. Too bad. I'll just take a peek. Nobody will ever know. Poor Captain. Even though his superstitions terrify him, he's obviously dreaming of a second chance. It's more and more like walking through a ghost ship. Nobody here either. Nobody here either. Wow, what a lot of room. As deserted as the outside.
The way they treat the nomads around here is terrible. I hope they don't end up throwing them in the lake for you calls. The way they treat the nomads around here is terrible.
I don't have any coins. Too bad.
Everyone's been surly the last few months. Living here is unbearable sometimes of late.
Looking for cigars or some hooch? I'm even cheaper than the nomads. Don't go asking where it all comes from, of course.
No Yukos in Valsambor! The shopkeepers can't take it anymore! The shopkeepers are on strike!
There've been 10 thefts from my shop since those savages showed up! Mr. Mayor, who's gonna pay?
Mr. Mayor! Do your job and come out onto the balcony! Voters want to talk to you!
The nomads are stealing our merchandise and our customers! The Yukos don't belong in Valsambor! The shopkeepers have had enough!
Thieving Yukos in Valsambor! The shopkeepers want them out the door! Thieving Yukos in Valsambor! The shopkeepers want them out the door! Close the nomad souk! Throw them all out or we'll stay on strike!
There've been 10 thefts from my shop.
The shopkeepers are on strike for the first time in ages. That's not good business for anyone, if you want my opinion. Mayor Boya King hasn't been up to handling the situation since the catastrophe. I've said it for years. The shopkeepers are on strike for the first time in ages. That's not good business for anyone, if you want my opinion. Mayor Boya King hasn't been up to handling the situation since the catastrophe. I've said it for years.
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Isn't it obvious? We're demonstrating against having the Yukon nomads parked on our doorsteps.
But what for?
Since they came to Valsambor, there's been no end to the shoplifting and vandalism, and on top of that, their souk is taking our customers. Mayor Bulyakin has to do something, and fast. We're not leaving until he receives our delegation.
But why won't the mayor talk to you?
Because he's a schmuck. He wants the nomads to continue their migration as much as us, but he's too afraid of annoying his higher-ups. And while he's gaining time by playing both sides of the board, we're watching our sales go through the floor.
The authorities are asking the mayor to prevent the migration from continuing? They want the Yukos to stay blocked in Valsambor?
That's what people are saying, but if you want my opinion, the only thing the mayor is waiting for is someone to get rid of those savages without him having to get his hands dirty.
What? That statue! No, it's impossible. If you were only here to see this, Oscar.
You should have seen it back when the port was still open and booming. We'd never even heard of a strike. The local economy has been completely depressed for several years. What a waste. You should have seen it back when the port was still open and booming. We'd never even heard of a strike.
I got nothing against the nomads. I just don't like them hanging around my place, that's all.
People are getting more and more excited here. It'll be a riot if it goes on. Worst of all, I know where they're coming from. You can't put up with the nomads forever.
Listen to me, please. Come on, get a broom. Listen to me, please.
I don't like that new waitress working in the tavern at all. But with her grandfather being an old friend of the nomads and the way she turns the customers' heads, there's no way Sarah Steiner can be anything but trouble, I'm sure.
It's kicking off near the town hall. I hope it won't come down anywhere near here. That's absolutely the last thing we need.
Welcome to our humble Valsambor funicular station, miss. I'm afraid you'll have to wait a bit before you can go up to the clinic. Traffic has been halted this morning, and now there's a rather progressive return to service.
When they shut the funicular down this morning, it created chaos. Regrettable delays due to traffic management, they said. Yeah, right.
There's no way I'm going back to the clinic without Kirk's prosthesis.
Impossible, I don't believe it. He forgot to leave it open again. Kirill! Kirill!
Hello. Are you Mr. Steiner? I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Steiner. My name is Kate Walker, and I've come to pick up the prosthesis for Kirk, the Yukel spiritual guide.
And well, dear Miss Walker, Dr. Efimova has informed me that the young man was not yet in any sort of condition to withstand the operation, and that...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
It isn't possible. That pendant you have around your neck. I would be very obliged if you would entrust me with it for a moment. Please, Miss Walker. Mein Gott! An XZ-2000 automaton heart in perfect working condition. A compensating spring memory. Pendulum ventricles and small mechanical pumps. Everything seems in excellent condition. Donnerwetter! Where on earth did you steal this, Miss Walker?
I did not steal it. It's a souvenir. It's all I have left of Oscar, a very dear friend.
Ah, so. And yet I am actually very familiar with this type of precision mechanism. An infernal precision. Incredible, unique expertise. For this was a Vorarlberg automaton, Miss Walker.
Yes. It was Hans Vorarlberg who designed this object. Tell me, did you know him?
Oh, yeah. He even lived here a few years. We did a lot of work together. He taught me so many different things, you know. So it is useless to try and make up silly stories, Miss Walker. And I am afraid that I am not about to allow you to leave here as long as you have not told me the truth about where this object comes from.
Oh, don't bother locking me in, Mr. Steiner. If you must know, the truth is that Hans Vorarlberg was someone who was very important to me. I accompanied him on a very strange journey throughout Europe. And that object in your hand is the only souvenir I have of that adventure.
That proves nothing, Himmelherrgott! Hans would never have given this to...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
My heart... need... my medication. Quickly!
Just don't move. I'll go and get your medication right away. No medication in sight. A prototype for the clinic aviary?
Make yourself right at home. Don't mind me. I just own the place.
Who would store medication in this mess? Still nothing. Fantastic! An old press clipping. Who would store medication in this mess? Kirk's prosthesis, but it looks like it isn't finished. Who would store medication in this mess? A prescription? That could do him more harm than good. No medication. No way. Nothing that could help him. That could do him more harm than good. Nothing that could help him. There's no point. No medication.
My heart. I need my medication. Quickly.
All that clattering must get really tiring after a while. Tea. No way. No medication in sight. Empty. That could do him more harm than good. medication. Empty. A prototype for the clinic aviary? All that clattering must get really tiring after a while. Who would store medication in this mess? Who would store medication in this mess? Fantastic! Still nothing. Who would store medication in this mess?
Thank you for your precious help, my dearest Miss Walker. I'm afraid I may have judged you somewhat hastily.
Don't mention it, Mr. Steiner. Tell me about the prosthesis. I need to take it back to Kirk very quickly, if, of course, you agree to let me have it.
Yeah. I just have a few small adjustments to make. It involves very precise and meticulous mechanics, understand?
Will it take long? I'm sorry to insist, but I also have to give a hand to those unfortunate Yukos. I need to help them get across the lake with their herd of ostriches. I'm so worried about them.
Once the mechanical leg is at last ready, I can go to the clinic and bring back young Kirk to you. That way you only have to worry about what happens to the other Yukos.
You'd do that, Mr. Steiner? That would really be a great help.
So, perfect. But dear Miss Walker, are you aware of what lies in store for the Nomads when they reach the other side of the lake?
You want to talk about everything that happened in Baranor 20 years ago.
How on earth did you hear about the story, miss? The authorities have always done everything that was in their power to keep this terrible business absolutely quiet.
I read the ship's log that Captain Obo wrote at the time. Tell me exactly what happened there, Mr. Steiner.
It has become a true hell on earth since the time of the last great ostrich migration. Please join me downstairs for a moment, Miss Walker. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Look just next to the films there, Miss Walker. You should find a film on Baranor.
The film's missing.
Baranor, the cursed city. Baranor, the martyred town. Baranor has been nothing but a field of ruins and desolation since a week after the explosion of reactor number 3 in the nuclear power plant. Baltimore is on the other side of the lake, sheltered from the prevailing winds, and fortunately it seems to have been spared from the deadly radioactive clouds. Our town was mobilized to go to the aid of our neighbors. Although our town's means were modest when compared to such a catastrophe, there were nonetheless among us some brilliant mechanical engineers. In record time, they developed a small army of automatons capable of helping the affected people. Those men and dogs of steel could go where a human could no longer set foot without becoming seriously ill. Over there, they could be excavators, rescue workers, and treasure bearers.
These automatons look just like my friend Oscar. I guess people put that statue up in the square in their honor.
Yeah. Truly magnificent pieces, nicht wahr? The XZ-2000 model is most assuredly one of Hans's major masterpieces.
Their mission was to bring back any survivors of the catastrophe to Baltimore, where the victims would receive the best care in Dr. Zamyatin's clinic. The Crystal, the ferry usually responsible for linking the towns of Baltimore and Baranor every day, carried the new type of rescuers to the scene of the drama, and brought back the survivors of the catastrophe.
So Baranor suffered the ravages of a nuclear accident. But according to that film, the automatons you designed with Hans should have helped save lots of lives, right?
I'm afraid that's not how things went. Because of Captain Obo. Ooh. Ah, that must be Sarah. Please come this way, Miss Walker. I'll introduce you.
tools that would have suited Hans.
Miss Walker, may I introduce you to Sarah, my granddaughter?
Nice to meet you, Sarah. My name's Kate Walker.
I actually owe Miss Walker a candle. Thanks to her calmness and peace of mind, I'm still here and on my feet. She found my medication and gave it to me before it was too late. Donnerwetter.
You don't mean you had another attack, do you? Ah, you're being so very naughty, Grandfather. You absolutely must let Dr. Zamiatin examine you.
Come on, stay calm, my little child. When I go to the clinic to take the prosthesis to the young Yukol, I'll stop by and see the good doctor. Until then, why don't you make yourself really useful to Miss Walker? She's looking for some way to transport the Yukol caravan to the other side of the lake.
Well, I think I've already found the solution. The boat in the film, the Crystal, it must be the ship that's docked in the port. If it was able to transport the automatons you and Hans built, it could carry the ostriches across the lake.
Ah, that's not a bad idea. But unfortunately, there's a slight problem of size, dear Miss Walker.
What on earth do you mean?
Obo became a poor wreck when he simply abandoned our automatons in Baranor. The coward now drowns his sorrows in vodka. He's convinced that he fled because of the monster in the lake. Heh! Apparently the imbecile saw the monster, Himmelgott. So he went back on his tracks, abandoning all the automatons in Baranor, as well as the people they were there to rescue.
Grandfather, I know you're still really angry with Captain Obo because he abandoned the automatons that you built with your friend Hans in Baranor. He was supposed to wait for them. They were going to take all the survivors they found in the rubble to the boat and then bring everyone here to safety in Valsambor. But in the end, when he got to the beach at Baranor and saw the disaster and all the dead, he became really afraid. The disease, the radiation, he must have had an uncontrollable panic attack, so he immediately turned back, dumped the machines on the Crystal into the lake, and came back empty-handed to Valsambor. And the automatons have been there ever since, in hell. But who knows? Maybe today he'll want to sell. I'm sure Kate will be capable of convincing him to help the Yukols. I have to go do my waitressing shift in the tavern. Come by and see me later on, okay? Captain Obo will be there.
All right, then. I'll try and convince Captain Obo. Thank you for everything, Mr. Steiner.
I don't know if I really should wish you good luck, dear Miss Walker. Baranor is only an open grave now.
What exactly happened in Baranor?
An accident in reactor number 3. Negligence. Faulty maintenance. What do I know? Anyway, one spark was all it took, and then total chaos. The rare survivors were brought back here to the Valsambor Clinic.
So you and Hans decided to build an army of automatons to help all the people who were left behind still stuck in the rubble in Baranor.
Yeah. Hans thought that helping the town that had opened its arms to his amusement park was a duty. And we would have managed to do it in the end, too. If only that coward Obo hadn't left our automatons to rust because of his so-called lake monster. The evil monster of the lake. Stories to scare small children with, Miss Walker. Not an excuse for cowardice. Mein Gott.
How did you meet Hans Wahlberg?
I met dear Hans when he had just arrived here in Valsambor, 20 years ago.
What was he doing in the region?
Oh, he didn't seem to have any particular reason. Always traveling. He stopped off here and there, then left again when the feeling came.
Are you still angry at Captain Obo for abandoning your automatons?
Yeah. Hans and I put an awful lot of energy into making them all, you know. We thought of everything.
How so?
Our automatons were designed to tirelessly go through all the rubble, piece by piece, in search of survivors. Administer first aid, and then take them back to the beach so that they could be safely embarked on the Crystal. But because of Obo, none of that ever happened.
Thank you for your help.
You take care of finding a way for the ostriches to cross the lake, Miss Walker. I'll finish the prosthesis and take it to Kirk.
I need to concentrate if I'm going to finish this prosthesis, dear Miss Walker.
Sarah is a brave girl. I owe her much indeed. That damned Dr. Zamiatin will be absolutely furious when I tell him about the attack I just had. You take care of finding a way for the ostriches to cross the lake, Miss Walker. I'll finish the prosthesis and take it to Kirk. Lost your way, pretty girl? If you need someone to follow you around town, just ask. Lost your way, pretty girl? Everyone's been surly the last few months.
It's kicking off near the town hall.
I don't like that new waitress working in the tavern at all. What with her grandfather being an old friend of the Nomads and the way she turns the customers' heads, there's no way Sarah Steiner can be anything but trouble, I'm sure. I don't believe it! He forgot to leave it open again!
Tavern.
I'd rather be left here on my own if you don't mind, miss. I'm sorry, but I'm really not in the mood.
Go speak with young Sarah. She could help you. Captain Obo's got it real bad today. Poor old bastard.
I hope you find the tavern agreeable, miss. Vlad the boss does whatever it takes to keep the place cozy. With everything going on, that's not bad.
All those youngsters trying to act smart to impress the Steiner girl. It really gets to me. If only I was still 20 years younger.
I'd really suggest you steer well clear of Captain Oboe, miss. He's always basically drunk as a skunk. He's not only a total drunk, he's also the disgrace of the town.
I'm not standing here because I'm happy, you know, miss. In my family, we were always fishermen. All we ever knew. So when they closed the port, you understand.
Captain Oboe?
What do you want?
May I sit down for a second?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry to impose, but I actually really...
You know, you kind of remind me of someone. The wife of the quartermaster that served on board the Crystal after the war. Do you realize he got married to the first cousin of the wife of a machinist?
Oh, okay. That's all really interesting, but what I wanted to ask...
That's a really great story, really. Because, did you know? So there. So the guy answers, I don't know nothing, Captain. Turns out he was hiding in the broom closet. Hilarious. Irina, the wife of the quartermaster, her name was Irina Malevna. Crazy how much you look like her.
Oh, gee, it's getting late. I have to go. You can finish telling me the story another time, Captain Oboe. That shape there in the water, what is it?
The lake is haunted by a demon. It's watching me. Waiting. I can feel it.
We're pretty lucky with all we've been through. At least we've still got places like this. Sometimes, though, I wonder if this town will ever get its old soul back. Is everything okay, Kate?
Not really. I'd like to ask Captain Oboe if the Yukon caravan can go on board his boat to cross over to Baranor. But I can't get a straight answer. He's completely sloshed.
I'm sorry, miss, but I really think you're wasting your time. He's getting drunk again to forget his crimes, like he always does. To forget he wasn't brave the way a captain should be. Can you believe it? In Baranor, he just picked up and abandoned his passengers. And I know, he'll never want to see that cursed place again.
I'm not sure that's true, lad. Even if he does drink a lot, the captain's a pretty good guy. Say the right thing, and you may be able to convince him.
If I'm ever lucky enough to find him sober, even for a moment, I need that drunkard to listen to me.
Maybe I can help you with that. I'll make him one of my famous small restoratives. After that, he'll want to sleep for 3 days, but at least his mind will be clear.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much, both of you.
Don't mention it. The way the Yukols are treated here is an absolute disgrace, so if we can help out...
Has Captain Obo taken the crystal out of port since leaving Baranor?
He's been far too drunk ever since then for that.
And anyway, the port's been closed since the tragedy of Baranor 20 years ago.
Do you think the crystal is still in sailing condition after all this time?
I'm sure there'll be a few repairs to do, but Obo never stopped keeping it in shape, you know. He loves his boat, despite everything.
Do you know why Captain Obo fled Baranor?
He must have been completely traumatized by what he saw there. The catastrophe, the victims, and then the radiation. He unloaded the automatons on the beach, but he didn't expect they'd bring the survivors back right then. He just cracked, completely snapped. Full astern and goodbye all. Can you even imagine?
Afterwards, he came up with that story of a sea monster appearing and attacking his boat.
Yes, the old legend of the monster of the lake. Convenient, isn't it?
Who knows what became of the victims and automatons the captain abandoned?
No, everybody hates the captain for that. But nobody volunteered to take the helm of the crystal in his place to pick up the survivors. If there are any left in Baranor. They're all dead now, that's for sure.
Grandfather says that the automatons would have broken down really quickly with nobody to maintain them.
Go see the captain. Sarah will bring you the restorative when it's ready.
Go and talk to Captain Obo. I'll bring you his restorative. Try not to be too hard on the captain, Kate. Take this, Captain. This one's on the house.
My God! This piss water unbattens the hatches, swabs the deck, and opens the portholes. Hello, Miss.
My name is Kate Walker, Captain Obo. We met each other earlier.
To what do I owe the honor of your presence at the table of the regrettably famous Captain Obo?
This is good news, Captain. You're back at the starting block again. You have a new beginning, a new dawn.
Haha! Now that's a good show of spirit, Miss Walker. What'll you be having now? It's my round.
I'd rather you listen to me. You're my only hope of finding a solution to my problem.
Do tell me about it, please, miss.
Because the Yukels and their ostriches are stuck here in Valsumbor, it's causing a serious problem among the people in your community. Plus, the nomads have to continue their great journey. Only you, Captain Obo, can defuse the situation by taking them on board the crystal.
You're very wrong, Miss Walker. Everybody will tell you that I'm incapable of giving a hand to anyone.
I took a look at your logbook, Captain. I read what you wrote when you fled Baranor.
So in that case, you know what I am, right? I'm damned and rotten to the core.
Let me tell you something, Captain. I know that you need to redeem yourself, and I just may be able to help you do that.
How in the hell?
Take the Yukel caravan to Baranor in the crystal. The migration must go that way.
Baranor? That's impossible. You can't go to there anymore. Never again. Too much happened. Too many died. And also there, in the water, I saw the hellish red eyes of the monster of the lake. A beast as big and long as my boat. Ask your Yukel friends what they think about it. They call it the Kilak, the evil spirit of the lake. The devil guarding the doorway to hell.
Captain, I think it's time for you to clear your head of all these fanciful stories designed to scare people. Everywhere in the world where the water is deep, people have come up with legends designed to keep children safe. Come on, get up, Captain Obo. Show me what you're made of.
Miss Walker, first of all, I have to say that you're an incredibly stubborn woman. I'd even say that you're a real, Anyway, I'll stop there. But I get it.
And what am I to conclude from your appraisals?
All right, all right. You can get your gang of little savages and board the crystal. I'll take you.
Oh, thank you, Captain, really, with all my heart. And thank you on behalf of the Yukels.
Oh, but be careful now, Captain Girl. You're not there yet. There are two conditions, and they are negotiable. First, we stop by Narodas. It's a little town just a bit south of Baranor. That will mean we avoid the most radioactive zones, but it won't actually take you too far off your path. And second, we also sail by day. I'm not going to finish up on the lake monster's plate. And it sleeps during the day. The beast is usually a bit of a night owl anyway.
I accept, Captain Obo.
In that case, all hands on deck now, sailor, because we've got work to do before we can hoist the anchor.
Come on, Kate. You hurry off and meet with the captain before he changes his mind. I'll go tell Grandfather to join you on board the Crystal with Kirk.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'd really suggest you steer well clear of Captain Obo, miss. He's always basically drunk as a skunk.
I was sure the captain would end up by saying yes. Good luck with the preparations, Kate.
So you finally managed to convince old Obo. Good going. It'll be strange seeing the crystal shipshape again. Like in the good old days.
Nobody.
You take care of finding a way for the ostriches to cross the lake, Miss Walker. I'll finish the prosthesis and take it to Kirk.